Short shorts on like short people are just normal shorts.
Oh God.
Okay? My inseam is like 28
Mac
inches.
barefoot in a pig pen.
Why do you think my
Sorry.
feet feel like hooves?
Oh man. Oh. Are we rolling? Yeah. Great. Let's do this.
Hey guys, I'll be right there.
Let's go. Let's.
Oh. What are you? I can't
Bev.
take you seriously. Like if I could ever take you seriously
No, you
before
guys.
it's
Bev, what are you wearing?
Okay. This is the Halloween episode.
So
it's an episode. It's not Halloween though.
But
it's
I-
not actually Halloween today.
You guys, I thought we were like kind of like diving into our old selves and our old characters, and like, you know, in this episode I'm Little Bo Peep, so you know, this is
Yes, you are.
Yeah.
All right. Do you want to do the intro, Bo Peep?
Where's your sheep, Bo Peep?
So for those of us who aren't seeing this, Bev is wearing Little Bo Peep pajamas. What are those? What is that?
it's a costume.
That's a Halloween costume.
Well, yeah, it's a Halloween episode. We're doing our
Are
6th
you-
episode, which is entitled Halloween.
I think this is how Bev dresses normally, actually, to be honest. Yeah.
I mean, you guys,
How many times
I mean,
have you
she-
been Bo Peep on Halloween? Has this costume, did you get that for this?
I don't feel like I need to answer that question.
Fair enough. Fair enough, Bev.
This is,
All right, well, I guess
you know, some
Bo Peep, take it away. Do the
just
intro.
like Matt's the same thing every year for Halloween. Bev's Bo Peep every year.
Well, you know what? I mean, it was an instrumental part of my life, Miss Bo Peep. So,
Meh.
well, you know what?
Well,
If you are just listening, maybe I'm suggesting strongly that you pop over to YouTube so you can get a look at this. This is pretty great. Bev is
Bev, you're great.
Bev, you're owning it.
I mean,
You own this costume.
this is your.
It is yours.
This is making me feel like that moment when I was like a skunk as a child, and it was really a cute costume, and then I tried to recreate it as a teenager, and it didn't work out. I'm starting to feel like this one's falling flat.
No, it's wondrul. We love it. I think it really brings
For
out
all of you
the,
who are listening
We
and
shoulda
not
got
seeing Matt's
sheep
face, the
costumes.
sarcasm on her face is one to really.
You know,
I
Bev,
mean, you know, it's doing it.
we really could have
something.
coordinated a little better. You know, I could
I
have
could have
got.
been the sheep.
We could have been sheep. Yeah.
Yeah.
Both the two of us.
Well, I thought
Yeah.
you were gonna dress up as, you know, never
As
mind.
Happy?
Yeah, well, you know,
Or a
Well-
dinosaur.
dinosaur.
Yeah, that crummy old dinosaur costume that
So
Annie's
you're
like
Bo
actively
Peep. You're,
still making.
You're Toy Story Bo Peep.
Well, I may be Toy Story. I couldn't find the skirt and the By the way, we're gonna dive into it. But first off, this is Catching Up with the Camdens. I'm Beverly Mitchell, also
Slash
Bo
Bo
Peep.
Peep.
She's
Yeah.
not. She's Little Bo Peep.
She's-
I'm David Gallagher.
I'm Mackenzie Rosman.
And apparently, I need to change, so I will be right back.
Don't change. We love you just
No,
the way
I
you
am
are,
not
Bev.
doing this the whole time. I think we're gonna. No, if you guys are dressed like normal humans, so will I. So I'll be right back.
Wow.
Okay.
There's an ant crawling on my finger. Should I keep
Okay.
it?
Okay. Do you want us to?
Right?
We'll hit that.
That's what I thought.
There. The ant's
David.
on the pillow now.
I love it.
It's so you.
know, it's.
I'm channeling Barry right now.
Oh my God! Yeah, you totally are.
Yes.
Yeah, this is exactly what Barry would have done.
Yeah.
I mean, you do remember 90s Con? He did wear the.
You could put
Of
butters
course.
in your
He wore
beard.
Yeah.
The
Have you
tutu.
tried that
And the
before?
whole time before
tutu.
before that, he was like, I don't know, you guys. I don't really want to do 90s Con. I don't know if I want to do the thing.
And then
Hey,
he
a
says-
skirt, a mini skirt. Woo! And then he put it on
A
and danced around stage.
It was a tutu.
A tutu, yeah.
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 Barry
and by
loves
the
He
way,
did have quite a nice walk in that tutu as well. He was really working
He swished.
it.
He had a
Yeah.
swish. Yeah, he owned it.
And for all of you who are not aware, or you're listening, so you can't see, David is wearing my Bo Peep.
You can't hear
bow.
this?
You can't. I mean, the bow is speaking quite loud.
Can't hear this action?
So if you want to check it out, you should check us out on YouTube.
Oh, you
because,
guys.
it is.
Is
it's
David
fantastic.
wearing the bow or is
I
the bow
haven't-
wearing David?
He
I'm
feels
not
like
quite
he's
sure.
got his hair.
I haven't
you
had
feel
a flip
hair.
in a while.
Yeah, you've got
It's
flip with that
kinda
bow.
nice.
Fast forward, David wears bows every day.
Gives
Yeah.
me fond memories of my
Of-
long hair. God, those were the days, huh?
Were they?
And also,
Weren't they?
Did you?
for all of
Shut up,
you
Mac.
who are, it's like a circus here. For all of you guys who are tuning in, this may be out of order because we are diving into our Halloween episode, and because Halloween, we just want to be festive. So don't worry, we will hit those other episodes. They will be coming up because they are good. But
if you're mad about it, tell us in the comments.
or
You know?
Yes.
direct them to Jared.
And make sure in the comment, yell at Jared.
We love you, Jared.
Don't be too mean to Jared. He's
No,
sensitive.
because he's the only reason why you.
But he
got-
isn't as sensitive as we are, so that's
Right.
he can
So
take
yell
it.
at Jared
Yeah.
and not us, please.
But I mean, this was a cute episode. I remember this was being like another big one,
This was great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
the Halloween
And-
episode.
Yeah, and I mean, I think that definitely. I have a lot of memories of being in those awful costumes, which I loved equally as much as Ruthie appeared to, which she didn't hide her disdain at all. But I think, Bev, you had such a great storyline, and I was just so in love with Lucy, watching how sweet she was, and
Aw.
this was great. And everybody, once again, we all had a similar storyline about not judging a book by its cover,
Yeah,
and even Eric, it only took a bit to come out
yeah.
for Eric
So
in particular.
how about we dive
You
in?
broke my heart.
Well, how about we dive into
Poor Henry
the beginning and
Yes.
and where we start? Because
The
like
ghost story.
like you said.
And
yeah.
The
Like,
ghost
Matt
story.
was the best big brother ever. Like he was just so playful and so wonderful. And you know what?
We
Like
lost
people
the
would
bow.
always
Bow
say,
down.
I
Bow
just wished
down."
my family. I just wanted
Gag's
to be
over.
a Camden, and I wished that I could live in your family. And honestly, watching these episodes, I want to live with the Camdens too.
You did.
I'm like, I did, but like now I'm like, God, they really were a lot of fun, Like,
It's a great
that-
little family vignette, the ghost story.
and I miss Matt. Why did Matt have to go to college? Couldn't he have just been like a modern, person who lives at home until they're 30? Like, why did he have to leave and go to college and like fly the
Because
coop?
Barry
He
left
could have
us.
just stayed.
Aggressive modern
I was like,
commentary.
what?
But he could have just been he could have been a basement
How do
troll
you
until he was
really
like in
feel,
his
Matt?
30s, and then
They didn't want to build a basement
Okay.
set, We had to build
Sorry.
the attic set.
I
Alright.
know, I know.
Too many
I
sets.
know.
Let's circle back. So
Aggressive.
as we first find the Camdens, all the Camden kids having the
They were-
ghost story.
They were too successful.
Which
they
was-
left. Sorry.
So we have the ghost story, which is great.
Yeah, we
And
start with the ghost story. Awesome.
Which is like
Classic.
And of course, the classic, like,
Flashlight
the
under the
sound-
face.
and the the
Excellent.
sound effects with the
Yeah.
like the door
wind,
slam
yeah.
and
clattering windows and
Right.
and all the good stuff.
and then the door opens and who screams but Dad?
It was dark
Mm-hmm.
too. Do you think we were pieces of tape when we filmed that, or we were actually there?
On Barry's close up,
Yeah.
definitely. It's a little
Tape.
spooky.
I mean, they were
pieces of
like, "Oh,
tape.
the lights are off. Let's send the kids to the schoolroom." Probably.
This was the era that Barry was talking about, by the way. All these, probably the first 3 or 4 seasons, like he heavily had to deal with us
Tape.
getting rushed off to school when we weren't
You know
on
what
camera.
we should have done when Barry came on is we should have just not been here and put.
We should have put
pieces
some
of
tape on the. We didn't have any mics
We'll-
either,
we'll
man.
do-
We've really glowed up, you guys.
Well,
with our-
yeah.
with our podcast.
I know
mics.
because we are.
Well, if he
official
comes
now.
on again, we can
We're
just
official.
leave and go to lunch, and he can do it with the tape.
It'll feel like old times.
We'll do that. We'll do that gag with Barry. We'll have him come back and do a solo pod with some tape. It'll be funny.
I'm so afraid of what Barry will say.
I mean, Jared will
And-
fix it.
And also, but
Right,
And if he
Jared?
doesn't, you can send all of the negativity his way.
But like what I loved about this cute scene too is we have Eric who is like kind of screams and doesn't like Halloween. We all know
But he
it.
won't admit that he doesn't like Halloween.
But then we have Annie who
Because it's
The whole time.
repressed.
we have Annie who comes in and who's like a kid in a candy store who like comes in and is like, I love Halloween stories.
And Simon with his like quest for success.
Well,
He's
like
so
all
cute.
things,
He can't even.
Simon looks at Halloween as a business opportunity to succeed, and he has a plan, and
Yeah.
he has to execute, and that is to win the pumpkin carving contest, because this is his three-peat,
Right.
Yeah.
not something to be taken lightly. He's
Meanwhile-
won 2 years in a row. He's got to win the third year,
Because
obviously.
it's only been
Meanwhile,
around
Annie,
for
like-
3 years.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's clearly not rigged for Simon.
And that does not like diminish him at all, though. Like,
No,
the
no,
knowledge
for
that like Simon had only started 3 years ago.
No.
He's like, well, whatever.
I mean,
It's
obviously, I won the first year.
But that's like a
and
third of his life.
It's now
at this
my
point
duty to
anyway,
win every
so-
year.
Which is absolutely fitting and makes
Perfect, yeah.
complete, total sense and is great character development because we are right on target.
Right on target for Simon, totally.
For as much of
Absolutely.
as Jimmy Moon sort of is at points in this episode, he does have a really good line too.
He has a lot of really good lines.
Yeah, it's like, well, at least I've got a girlfriend.
Oh, that was a-
Psh, clap back.
Yeah.
Oh, good.
Yeah, to the boys.
We had some characters, some colorful character guest stars in this episode
we
with
did.
your friends.
We
A couple of
did.
actors who were totally recognizable and appeared early on in our show's history. Who were
I mean, I don't think they were technically my Lucy's friends. They were Jimmy Moon's friends, but
they
yes,
were your guest star.
they were my
in
guest stars,
your
yes,
age
yes.
group.
Eric Von Detten and Chris Owen.
That's right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and they were little punks.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
played little punks, and it's so cool for me to see the old episodes of the show and see all the faces that came through our guest star revolving door over the years.
Yeah,
man.
because we were the
It's
start.
just the
for a
surprises
lot.
just keep coming and coming and
we
coming.
were,
Yeah.
we
too.
were the launch pad for a lot of people. Like we were a lot of
But
people's
but these guys, man, they were
they were great.
they were totally recognizable from that era, and I mean, Eric Von Detten, he was the
Bop
He's-
magazine.
the teen magazine
Yeah.
killer back in the day, man.
well, because he's got that matte hair.
It's
He's
that
got
hair,
Barry Watson
dude. Like
hair.
Yeah, I
first thing
know.
I saw, I was like, oh, that is 90s hair.
Yeah.
Excellent 90s
Yes.
hair.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And I think, they really had some 90s fashions there, too.
Oh,
Did
totally.
you see
Yeah.
all the giant layers and
Lots of layers, baggy
Yeah.
pants.
Yep.
Baggy pants.
Baggy pants and
Ca-
plaid
the
and
Converse. A lot
Yeah.
of the
Yep.
Converse. Yeah.
excellent.
Yeah. So we kind of get into this episode.
Oh, another thing. So we see Ruthie coloring. Why? She's coloring on orange paper and she's using an orange crayon. Explain that.
well,
I mean, you explain it.
I had
Yeah.
to explain to my child the other
Explain it
day
to
who was
me.
coloring with a white crayon on white paper. Like,
well, so
I don't know.
So
Maybe
then
she's
it's-
just
by the
figured
way,
it
you
out,
just
but I'm like, bro.
Explained.
So you just explained it.
I know. I guess I did explain it, but
It's
like,
a perfect, cute little kid thing.
Yeah.
Love it.
and Simon's like, Ruthie's gonna enter the contest.
She doesn't even know
Fetch.
her color wheel.
Yeah.
Whatever. Then we get into everyone getting ready for the day, and we have a little gag
Yeah.
where Mary is.
Well, first,
Simon flushes, scalds Mary.
no. I
Simon
thought it
goes
was-
in to use the
No, you
toilet.
do it,
Oh,
don't
I
you?
go in. Yes, right. I
You
go
do
in.
it.
I flush.
Yes.
Mary gets burned.
which, if you
which
don't
is
know what
great.
that means, if you flush the toilet when someone's taking a
It uses
shower,
all the
they
cold
lose
water.
the hot water.
Which-
yeah.
Does that doesn't happen anymore though, does it?
Well, most people have instant hot, and so now
Yeah.
Yeah, I
But
don't
it
think
did
it's a
used to
thing
happen
anymore.
all the
But
time.
it used to happen all the time. You could never flush a toilet while someone's taking a shower.
Yeah,
And
it
then-
was like a rule. Everyone knew.
And then they all
And there
like
was
file
only-
into the same bathroom like over and over again.
5 kids
Yeah.
sharing
5
one
kids.
bathroom.
But
And
even
Mary's
as a little
like,
kid,
of course
you knew the
Mary
rule.
has the is the one who owns deodorant because she's the sporty one. Duh. And we've established also the stinky one.
Yes.
But
But then, then
Then-
what she finds out,
Is that-
to her horror, is that everyone's using her deodorant because nobody else is buying that stuff. We're all just
No.
using the one that's
and
there.
it was so cute. And Matt hands it to Simon too.
Yeah.
And he's like,
yeah,
you know.
and I go like one swipe because clearly I know how to use deodorant. And yeah,
oh, that was so cute.
it is a cute little brotherly, sisterly thing. Yeah, it's good.
Also, so Annie says something. Oh, it's like the one girl that you didn't go out with. So was Eric kind of a slut?
It sounds like it.
Yeah, I didn't. We
I think
never
they're
we
trying-
never
yeah.
established that before.
I think we established that he's like a ladies' man. 'cause
A ladies'
obviously
man.
he's
Sorry,
hit
I
on
mean
by
slut might not be the
everybody.
right
Yeah,
word.
they're
but-
just trying to underscore that he's like the handsome minister. We
Yeah.
had that thing in the previous episode
shoes.
with the nurse who was hitting on him and
Yes.
like took his shoes for him, which is weird. And so yeah, this is
So,
just that ongoing
he's a
gag that he's a
catch.
catch.
He's a
That's
catch,
what they're
right.
trying to say. Yeah.
And then we have this who is Henry Bernard, and Eric like drops his coffee, chokes on his,
Yeah.
his own spit.
A little dramatic.
And just
Yeah,
yeah.
it was.
Drops the coffee, is having nightmares. It's like really
Especially-
intense.
But who
like-
else was having a nightmare in the
especially
beginning
when
too?
we,
Annie
like-
didn't want to be barbecued.
When
There's
we,
a line about that. Don't barbecue me.
right. When we follow this, like Henry Bernard, or is it Henry Bernard?
Yeah.
So when we follow this whole storyline, which is like kind of this like thorough line through, is like at the very end we just realize it's because like there was a fight over a Davy Crockett hat.
But it was
It's
also
like-
it's the reason
Right.
that it's the reason that Eric didn't like Halloween, because like all the other stories in this episode, which are about not judging something based off of its appearance or what you perceive it to be. That was Eric's moment of judging something and making a snap decision based off of what something appeared to be. We only
Yeah.
find
Yeah.
out
I
at the
just,
end,
I
but-
guess I would say if I had to rate some of our storylines, this was the one that I was like,
This is a weak
This
storyline
one
for
was like
Eric.
definitely.
In its
Yeah.
defense, though,
I
I
do
will
have
the
say,
cutest
like,
role.
as a personal anecdote, as an adult, I found it relatable in the sense that, like, before I moved out to California, when I still lived in New York, when I was in probably like, I don't know, first or second grade or something, it's probably around the time I did Look Who's Talking, or give or take when I was that age. I got into a fight at school with this kid, and when I was young, I was always really small, and I would get bullied a lot because I was an actor kid, and nothing that I'm like poor me about or anything, or that I was ever really couldn't deal with as a kid. But when I was a kid, there was a moment where I like really got angry and I lashed out and I hit this other kid in my class. And it's fine. When we were older, we ended up talking and being friendly again, and it made me feel better and stuff. But I just kind of related to, because sometimes as an adult, I think about that moment. It's not a big,
Yeah.
impactful thing that happened. It was just when I was little, I got into this fight one time. But we got into a fight because of me. I hit him. And I still think about that. It weighs on me as an adult when I think about that. And so, like,
Absolutely.
that kind of was relatable to me in that way. Like,
It's haunting.
You know, yeah.
No pun
So,
intended.
but like him having nightmares and dropping
Yeah,
his
yeah.
coffee and
Was
the
a-
kind of,
was a
it was
little.
all kind of like, much ado about
Exaggerated.
nothing.
It was,
yeah.
it was a little exaggerated because there was like, this whole like line throughout where we're trying to figure out what happened, and then it's like wrapped up with a nice bow in the end. But we also had
Like
some
the
other.
one on your head.
Well, I don't have
Or
it
was
anymore. Was
that-
on my
that
head.
was on David's head.
Yeah, and then
Jealous.
we
Yeah.
dive into like kind of which was the A storyline, which
Yeah.
was in regards to
Lucy.
Lucy
Lucy had the
and well, actually no, it gets set up in the scary story, the ghost story about Mike the mutant. And
Yeah.
about this story that he eats young children's flesh, and he's this like scary, terrible person. This little girl or little boy, Riley Gilchrist, went missing. And of course, like kids do, they get dared to go and check it out and investigate. And she goes with the boys, Jimmy Moon and the two boys,
On her
and on her bike,
bike that magically has a basket big enough to hold a pumpkin.
which is I want that
Yeah.
basket.
It's like a shopping cart on the
but-
front of the bicycle.
But she,
Very
I
practical.
also love
Yeah.
that the guys let her go first. They're like, "You go first." And so, like, I mean,
Yeah.
like, the chivalry is
That was
definitely dead with
really-
these kids. And so, Lucy kind of goes in and is innocent in the fact that she doesn't know that they're going to taunt him and like all of these like horrible things.
She does steal the pumpkin first.
She stole
Yeah.
the pumpkin because she was dared, and she's the most gullible.
Well, you have that classic kind of 90s trope of like, go on, do it. Like the
Yeah.
peer pressure
Yeah.
to like do something wrong to be cool.
Yeah.
And Lucy succumbs
Lucy-
to that and takes the pumpkin home. But the one who catches her with the pumpkin first is Simon.
I was
who
going to
is
say, by the way,
Well,
on
this
the
is-
lookout for the greatest pumpkin of all
Right,
time.
and it's
and
clearly
the
a superior
assumption
pumpkin.
that I brought the pumpkin for you.
How does Annie
yeah,
know so
I mean,
quickly,
because
though,
why
that
else
Lucy
would you be
stole it?
carrying this? You're not going to win the pumpkin carving
Right.
contest. Obviously,
It's
it's for
wasted
me.
on.
I
on
did
you.
also- I also loved in this scene too is that like when Lucy realizes, or when Simon realizes that Lucy will not give up the pumpkin to you, and then she now gets in trouble from Annie.
Yeah.
He immediately
you
outs
have
her.
And
the
I'm like,
biggest-
ha, go send it back.
Yeah, this biggest smile, and you're just like, I was laughing so hard watching this of like how
Yeah.
much enjoyment it was bringing you to watch me
Yeah.
suffer.
Yeah.
Because it
Simon
was-
was definitely being a little
Oh my god, it was,
which is great.
but it was
Mhm.
so good.
He's
in
just
that
competitive.
brotherly way.
He needs that advantage.
Oh my
Yeah.
god,
You
it
know?
was as I'm literally tail between my
Ruthless.
legs going back out, and like just the smiles and the
I sass everyone in this
Oh, it's
episode. I'm
so
actually
good.
really sassy in
It's
this
so
episode.
Yeah.
sassy.
Yeah.
So sassy, but so good. And then the cute, adorable scenes when we're trying to get Ruthie in a costume.
Oh my god! And I have so many like I have Polaroids and vivid memories of being in those costumes because honestly, I was about as miserable as Ruthie was throughout the whole episode about it. They were so uncomfortable and hot and awful. And then I'm watching that as someone like I sew now, so I know how labor intensive and difficult it is to make things, especially a costume with a tail that's like, 3 feet long. And like I feel so bad for Annie, and Ruthie's like, ugh. And Annie's literally like, it's not even finished, so it's not even something that's brand new yet, And Ruthie's like, ugh, I don't want to have to wear that old crummy dinosaur costume. And I just wanted to give Annie a hug.
Can we just
Like,
talk
kids
about?
suck. They're so unappreciative.
That is true.
Jeez.
And also, can we just talk about like the 90s? Is it a 90s trope to make your Halloween costume? I mean,
It's an all the time thing. People cosplay. My cousins
that's true.
They learn
That's
how
a
to sew
very
to
modern
make
take
cosplay
on the make your own
outfits.
costume thing. Is the
And
cosplay
in
scene?
the
Yeah,
80s,
for sure.
people made
But
costumes.
it's also that was the thing with Annie. Like Annie was like that could do it all. So like Annie
Right.
could,
She's
could
a
whip
plumber.
something up,
Yeah,
She's
it
a
plays into
seamstress.
her jack of all
She's-
trades like handiness.
But
Yeah.
it was also like
When
the Camdens didn't have a lot of money. We didn't have we couldn't all
Right.
go
I mean, they
buy
flat out
this
in the last
costume.
episode said, well, we've always been something and broke.
On that note, we are going to take a break. And so when Ruthie decides that she doesn't want the dinosaur costume, then you guys go shopping.
Yeah, and she hates everything.
But I think wasn't there was a reference, there was like a WB reference.
Oh, the
To one of
Tweety
the-
Bird one.
Yeah.
Yes. Another WB Easter egg. Ruthie, I don't know what was going on with her, but she was just like difficult, which is a phase that I think all people go through.
I
But
mean,
I felt for Annie in that.
Wait for it. Your kid's still a little too young
I know.
to be that difficult,
Oh, I know.
but it's
I know.
coming up
and I
quick.
was just like,
Well, I mean, I think
oh.
as parents, we can all relate to like a child being excited about a costume, and,
And
then
then
like the
it's
day
not even
of, and then
finished.
all no, not even that. Then you get said costume,
Yeah.
and then all of a sudden, I didn't want that.
Oh
Right.
yeah,
And then-
I've heard stories about
so
this.
I am
I'm ready,
not going
think.
to lie. I may have an arsenal of costumes.
And they're all
that were
Bo Peep.
rejected at the last minute.
They are not all Bo Peep, but some are similar. Actually, I have those. That's Little Red
You
Riding
have
Hood.
multiple Bo Peep costumes, don't you?
I have a multiple Little Red Riding Hood.
Ooh.
Um,
Next Halloween, everybody.
not in my size. These are for my children. But, I definitely could relate to like Annie just being frustrated trying to find
she
like
was
a
so-
costume.
Like low key frustrated. Like I would have been way more visibly frustrated. I'd have been like, "Come on!"
You're also her fifth child, so at this point,
Yeah,
like, we've
so
all
she's
worn
just
her
like she
down.
barely like her smile barely cracks even as she's just like, it doesn't even turn into a full grimace.
Well, I
Or
think
just
she,
like
she has a lot.
get
going.
up, throw the fabric down, walk away, and pour a glass of wine.
Well,
Like,
no,
that's
'cause
what I would be
This
doing.
is we've already moved past that. You've gone
Right.
shopping. You have like,
and I'm
you
just
are
unsatisfiable. Is that even a word? It's not a word, but
That's fine.
That's
It works for your age,
Yeah.
I
But-
think, in the episode. Like, and that's and again, like it's a setup for a good payoff in the end.
absolutely.
which I remember that
Which, by the
costume
way,
very well.
is a line that will forever live on. But we're not going to say the line yet because we're gonna.
We're not there yet.
We're not there yet. But Lucy has to return the pumpkin that she stole to Mike the mutant, who they have set up as Mike the mutant because he's scary and he lives in this trailer and he's kind of like a recluse that doesn't come out. And when she does, she actually has a conversation and kind of learns a little bit about Mike.
Right.
He's
He has a head
humanized
injury, yeah.
and I think it's very clear to Lucy that like something's a little different.
She's
There's
so sweet.
curiosity there, but there's like an understanding and she befriends someone who
There's
who really
compassion.
needs a friend.
You-
There's a
Yeah.
lot of compassion.
You show
and-
him some empathy and some compassion, and
She's
that is perfect for your character. It's exactly down the wheelhouse of Lucy's
Yeah.
like personality, and
And
you know.
Richard Mole is just so amazing.
Yeah.
And like, oh my gosh, I just remember like I really did think he was a giant.
He is
He-
giant.
was giant.
No, I
He's
mean like
6'8".
yeah.
Yeah,
So
he's
I
a-
was watching
He's
that,
a big guy.
and I was like, man, he sounds familiar. He looks familiar, right? And I realized that I worked with him later on on a movie
No, that's
Oh,
cool.
cool.
called Ghost Shark.
Oh, that's fun.
Nice.
Yes, I did.
Two
And
scary things in the title.
I
Yeah.
definitely didn't realize that I'd worked with him before when it was there, but yeah. So I was like, oh,
He was
I'm not crazy.
He was
I've seen him
lovely, so sweet, and it was such a fun. This was such a fun story to be a part of, and I loved this storyline because there's
I love this storyline for Lucy. I just fell in love with Lucy. Not that I already didn't love her, but you know,
there's sometimes
was
there's
just
sometimes
like-
where you fall.
well,
out
right.
Of love
There's
with Lucy,
sometimes you're
for
like,
sure.
God,
I do.
Lucy,
Yeah,
shut up.
Agreed. And for any of you who the name sounds familiar, Richard Mole, like he was on Night Court and a fantastic actor,
He's a he's
a legend
for
He's,
sure. And he was in the Highlander series, and yeah, he's done some really cool stuff.
Yeah. So again, also speaking to what you
His
said about
resume
like
is longer than my body is tall.
well, the thing with Richard was like they really wanted that height discrepancy. So like we were playing it all up. I mean, not that you needed help.
No,
'cause
his
it was-
half of the
but
story about him being a monster was how big he was, and
Right.
the other half was his kind of condition.
But
that-
there
that
was
they were
also
working out.
what I did love is the when you see Lucy and
He was in
Mike
Hercules, too.
connecting, you actually see him always sitting down, and you see them where they're on the same level.
Humanizes.
So you were able to actually kind of connect them because the reality is if both of us were standing,
That's not a two-shot.
you could not connect us, and you couldn't have that beautiful moment because obviously
The
there's too
pigtails
much air
for
between.
you were perfect
between-
for this.
Oh yeah,
role.
all the curls, lots of curls. That costume, which I don't know if we've got.
You
we get
enjoyed it
there
so
yet.
much you had to wear it again, right?
I wore a version of a Bo Peep, but obviously the version that was in Seventh Heaven was a much better, like very over the top. But I think they had a lot of fun with creating that costume.
All costume departments love Halloween
Oh, yeah,
episodes, right?
absolutely.
Am I right?
Yeah,
Yes.
that
Maybe
is-
they hate it.
that
I don't
is-
know.
That is true.
But
What-
there's some elbow room for creativity.
Yeah, that was a big skirt too. It was a very
Bike riding in a
detailed-
sk is never fun
detailed
either. So
costume for sure.
Yeah.
Very detailed. But yeah, the boys come back and are taunting.
yeah, they're being little and they're throwing eggs at his.
Yeah, so the boys come
House.
back and they're taunting Mike, and Lucy is in her Bo Peep costume as she should be.
Nails 'em.
And she does a great thing, and she grabs that hose and she
Yeah.
gets them.
Was that
and
the end of Lucy and Jimmy Moon being together?
no, Jimmy Moon
She
continues.
took
on
him back
forever.
after that behavior.
Of course.
No, doesn't he come back later and
He
apologize?
comes back- he
or,
does a-
like,
he
He
does
didn't
redeems
apologize at the end of the
himself,
episode.
But
or-
we're-
He could say he's sorry, but I wouldn't. After seeing the seeds of that, and I'd be like, "No,
Savage.
done.
Well, there's forgiveness, but
What?
I think
What's
like
that?
the key to this, the key to this point is like Lucy kind of standing up to the bullies and
Yeah.
like hosing them down, and also this like and she shouts out her disappointment, like thinking that they should know better, and she certainly thinks more of Jimmy Moon. And when she goes in and finds Richard, and she's just like a calm and it's interesting also when you're in those scenarios of like crisis and the calmness that young people can have and knowing what to do, and she knew just to have a calm voice and try to settle him down and not
Mhm.
attack him and hug him, because obviously he's
Yeah. No,
It's
this
very
this is why you were the perfect character for this guest star, and to have this relationship build. You were Lucy was you had the right energy for this storyline, and
Right.
it was well done.
it was really cute and
Very cute.
what do you
Her
what
her
signal is
instincts, I
that?
think, were really spot on.
That's what I thought. Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think
You
it's
didn't hesitate to grab the hose and spray the little.
Oh, I loved that part. That
and
was
you
that was fun.
knew, like, to present, not that Lucy could ever be threatening, especially in that costume, but your body language when you were talking to him was very non-threatening.
Right. And I think it's the awareness of the scenario.
Do we have to take a break now? Is
Yes.
it time? Let's stretch.
We'll take a break.
So when we come back, we're going over Barry, and he thinks he's so lucky to have this amazing date with this awful person.
Roxanne.
Yeah, she forces him to wear this ridiculous like themed costume, and I don't even know what he's supposed to be. Like,
Cyrano.
is he Pinocchio?
No, Cyrano.
Okay,
but like,
Cyrano.
how about the fact that like we
He
didn't
always dresses as a hobo.
wait. We didn't even like we have to go back to like with Roxanne. Did we missed the part? Remember when she's like she's been telling everyone that her boyfriend broke up
Oh,
with
I
her
know.
and she's now single.
And she needs someone to invite her to the party. Like, okay,
But then
red
she's
flag right there. Like, I can't go to this party unless someone invites me. And like, were the flyers she was holding, did they actually say I've broken up with my boyfriend? Because it sounds like that's what she was about to do, was to like put staple flyers.
She
that
did.
said,
She was
I'm
advertising.
single.
She didn't have to use the flyers, but she did say, "Oh, and did you hear? I just broke up with my boyfriend."
She said it twice in a
And-
single
and
conversation.
But it was all
It
she
was-
was
she's
saying. The
pathetic.
call was for Matt.
100%.
It was a
Yeah.
call to
It was-
action for Matt,
so
Which he
awful. I'm so
which he
glad.
gallantly responded to.
and also in total Barry fashion,
Huh?
he's like, yeah, like he's the golden retriever. He's the goofy
he is
dog.
a golden
He's the
retriever,
golden retriever.
person. Yes.
And
Finally,
so-
though, he realized she was a viper.
But even before that, when he's talking about when he's telling Eric that he's going to be a hobo, and Eric says, it's not right to
Oh my
to make
God.
a joke of someone's misfortune,
I
and says you
chose.
really shouldn't be a hobo.
And then Matt
and he's
has
like,
this
he's a hobo by
justification for
he's
it.
a hobo by choice. And then when he goes
God.
over to pick her up for the date, and he gets this horrible costume that he has to try to deal with.
And he can't
as
wear it.
Cyrano.
And he
Well,
cannot
I like
wear
to say,
this.
then we get Barry marching around with the nose,
Which is fantastic.
Which is
and that's
yeah.
funny just to look at.
Yeah.
You know,
I
just
also
to
love
see.
Annie's.
And
Like,
he's like,
let's take off the
hat.
hat. Let's put back
No.
on the hat.
Yeah.
Yeah. Does the hat no hat on? Yeah, doesn't help.
Yeah, nothing helps at
Yeah.
this point.
It's
which-
cute.
Yeah, it is. It's funny and it's cute.
I also like that the whole time we've the setup and you're wondering like, what is Mary going to be doing? Like, she's obviously, she's playing the
She's
parents the whole
plotting.
time. She's plotting something. You think because it's Mary, it's going to be something awful, right? Maybe, or I do. I'm like,
they
it's got to
play
be.
like-
She's going to go, like robs a bank or whatever. And none of the parents really care, which is also surprising. Like, you'd think they would keep a closer watch on Mary, but like they each accept her, like,
Well,
sort of
everyone's
non-answer answer.
preoccupied.
But they
Yeah.
but she gives him. She says she tells one that she's gonna go to the party, and she
And-
tells one that she's gonna go to the
Thing.
carnival. And I think
And then she says, "Oh, I
this-
changed my mind," and you're
this-
just wondering, like, what awful thing is
Yeah.
she planning,
the
right?
setup. Yeah,
And it's
Yeah.
alone time. And as someone who has like no alone time, at all anymore, that is exactly what I would do if I managed to get 7 people out of my house. I would just.
You
I would
you would
dance and click my
around and
heels down
take
the
a bubble
hallway
bath.
and take
I
a bubble
do
bath.
have
Like,
to say
very mature.
that Jessie actually had rhythm and moves, and if we wanted to compare her dance moves to mine in
Sorry,
episode
Bev.
5,
Jesse's dance
Jessie looks
sequence is super snazzy
it's so
and cute.
cute.
Yeah,
It's
it
really
I
is.
know.
cute.
It
I'm
really
like,
is.
oh, hate you, love you. Why are you so cute? It's such a cute sequence. And
Yeah,
it's so
Jessie kills
fun.
it. Yeah.
She totally kills it. It's absolutely adorable. It's like, what's that movie? Oh my God, that famous movie, the dancing movie with the socks.
Flashdance.
No. Risky Business.
Risky,
that's
the risky
Yeah.
business
Yes,
dance,
it's the
right?
Risky
Yeah,
Business
yeah.
dance. That's
It
it.
has
That's like
that the vibes.
There we go. Yeah, exactly. But it was, yeah.
I
and-
love that she sinks into the tub with the little tiara on.
And,
yes.
And the bubbles
ice
were
cream.
already attached to her body before she
Well,
leaned
that's
back
because
into
we
the
do
tub.
not want
Well,
her to show her.
for reasons.
Well, I know that, but I also
Yeah.
noticed that.
I think they wanted Jessie to look like sexy and cute, but they obviously wanted to respect
She was
that.
also 16.
She was also
or
a teenager
15
in
at
real
the time.
life and on
Yeah.
the show, and so they didn't want it to be sexy in the same way that they're
But
playing
we saw her
up like
feet, her bare feet.
Yeah, we did
well,
see. We did
We
see
did see her
feet.
feet.
the internet will never forget.
ankles.
So,
All of a sudden, everyone like it blows up.
but
like,
they
YouTube
there's a
just reveals
difference in the
feet.
way that they wanted her to be sexy and
Yes.
cute versus like the Matt's girlfriends that they
Totally.
play into and stuff like that. So they,
Yeah.
I think they did that. They did that fine. They did a good job.
Absolutely.
That was such a cute dance that she had.
It's a
too.
cute-
Yeah,
was
she kills it.
adorable.
that whole like
Tons of
cute
personality and rhythm
storyline
and
is adorable.
sassy.
And then we go, back to Matt, who's trying to pick up his date, and he decides not to be Cyrano, wants to be.
And he
his
finally
hobo.
realizes,
And then she's just awful, and he says, "Though you look beautiful,"
and that's all she thinks about.
He
I really look
he basically says that like she's an awful person and like you are not pretty, like because
What does he say? Like, I'm off it, babe, or something like
oh,
that. He has
what
some
is he?
like.
There's an actual. He says, "Oh, the thrill
Yes.
is gone for me, babe," and he
Yeah.
walks away. And she's like, "Wait, but did you say I was pretty?"
Yeah. Yeah.
So bad.
She's written as
Unlikable.
the most straightforward, shallow person you could possibly write.
Yeah.
And
And she did it.
She did it.
Brilliantly.
She did it.
Yeah,
She
'cause
nailed
she
it.
was. Yeah, because nobody liked her.
Great
Because
to be
as
a
pretty as
villain
she
on
is,
TV.
she's utterly unlikable.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
And to the actress's credit, that is the point.
yeah, exactly. She did a great job.
Yeah.
And
Poor thing.
that was, and I just love Barry in all Barry fashion. Like there's so many like Barry
He's so
moments.
playful and innocent. And like
the thrill's
he's
gone
just
for me, babe.
so
Yeah, it's
Just-
excellent.
It's just
yeah.
perfect.
This
Barry's
is like
vibes.
what made me just seeing these old episodes with Barry made me just so like then, I was a bit sad when Matt left the house and we didn't get Barry around us all the time, but watching it really drives it home. Like he was just so fun to be around. Equally as fun as his character, I think. More fun, maybe, probably.
More fun.
Yeah,
Barry,
a lot more fun.
Barry
but it was just-
injected so much of the fun and these cute moments we're highlighting from Matt's character are Barry's
Yeah.
injection. That is Barry's
Yeah.
performance coming through, and it's Barry that you're getting a
his
taste
little
of.
side,
As you now know,
side
having seen
smile.
Barry on the pod, he is a firecracker of a personality.
And I feel like that's even the tame
mischievous.
version.
He's mischievous, he's
Yeah.
fun, he's sassy, and he's a great person to be around.
Absolutely.
And you get a taste of that on these episodes. There's
Yeah.
little hints of it, and it's great.
And then we still have, Simon is still plotting and trying to figure out how he's going to manage to win this 3-peat.
I'm very focused in this episode.
I
I
mean,
am
you
going to
have
win the contest,
one
and
thing
that's
on your
all
mind.
I care about.
One
Right.
thing on your
But you
mind.
actually take not winning the contest.
Wait,
pretty
don't
well.
get there yet.
Well,
You can't tell.
people
You
have
can't
seen
tell.
the episode.
Are we going to the contest? Is that where we're at?
No, next up we have to go to.
We're not revealing anything, though. but-
Lucy.
True. Spoilers. This
Yeah.
aired in '96.
Yeah.
We're at the party, and at this point, we've established that Mike is a recluse. She's learned about
Mike's backstory.
Yeah, Mike's backstory.
Okay.
Because Mike actually
So
is
he
an
was
artist.
he was an
He's
artist,
an incredible artist.
and he was in an accident
Right.
that scarred him.
He was
doing something
shot.
gallant too. He was shot. trying to save-
in the head
Yes.
Yeah.
And
at a gas station.
And so are they I'm a little confused about this. They're saying that his
He had a traumatic head injury.
traumatic head injury
Made
is
him-
what causes his like
Yes.
non-neurotypical
Yes.
like
Yeah,
I think it
performance.
causes a bit of the paranoia. It causes his
his speech impediment
his speech
and all that kind of stuff.
because he had a traumatic brain injury.
It's from the
The
incident. Okay.
from being
Yes.
shot, and it kind of shows that like even though he was an artistic and very shy before, after the accident has kind of exaggerated that.
Okay.
And how even Eric has been trying to connect with him and trying to come over, and he won't answer the door, and he's afraid. He's very afraid. And it's Lucy who kind of helps bring him out of his shell and kind of brings him to the carnival.
She's like the
And
least
finds-
threatening being that you could.
But with her empathy and love, she pulls him in.
in Camden fashion, finds a way to have that little opening in which can reintroduce him into a space in which is safe and which is welcoming, with this beautiful pumpkin that he delivers, that Simon actually delivers, and that Lucy hides, so that Simon can't see it, which is the carving of Lucy's face.
Right. And so what's cool is that what's nice about the way this is kind of constructed from the writing team is that you have his backstory, which is about him being
A
this
sculptor.
bold artist.
Yeah.
He was a bold and interesting artist who had this tragedy and became a recluse. And then you reintroduce him to the community using his art to show his value, to let people appreciate like his strengths.
Right.
And so that's a cool, a well-constructed little tie-up to his arc.
Absolutely.
Right. And who
And the reveal that he's wearing a mask too. He comes in.
Yeah, it's Frankenstein.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, because he's known in the community as this monster.
Right.
And so he hides his face until he beats Simon
Right.
shockingly at the pumpkin carving contest, and then you reveal that this person we're celebrating for his art victory is this person that you all thought was a monster,
and everybody's been afraid
and
of.
that he's no one to be afraid of.
And I
right.
love that, like, Eric thinks that Simon's gonna come and say something bad,
No,
and then
Simon hits him with the silver medal.
Yeah.
Like, I just want to shake the hand of the guy who beat me.
Yeah.
Like, you're amazing.
Yeah,
Very
the master,
sportsmanlike.
very beautiful.
Very great sportsmanship from Simon.
Oh my God, we totally skipped that. We needed Ruthie to find her costume, and because
and
she
Mary
was
that's right.
because
Mary-
she was threatening to stay home, and Mary was
like, I got this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mary was like, my plan will be ruined,
and
so I will handle this.
Right.
and the one of the lines that I think has stuck with everyone forever.
Yeah, we did it.
We-
We called back to this line over the years many
times. 'cause
You
it's
can't be
iconic.
happy. Happy is happy.
Right. Yeah.
It's one of our great little quips.
And
Yes.
I love that, like, when Annie asks Mary, like, well, what did you say? She says, you're gonna
go to this
you're gonna
party
go to
and
this
you're gonna
party,
be
happy. And then you
And you
come
said
out as
okay.
happy.
Right.
And you said okay, so that's why you come out
That's
as
why I was happy.
happy.
Yeah.
And it's such a
It's so cute.
And it's such
I-
a fun costume.
It's
was
a little.
fun.
It's like a Raggedy Ann
It's a mop
style
on my
It's
head.
a mop.
happy
Yeah.
costume.
It is a mop with a sweater.
Yeah.
And I
And-
love that.
yeah.
That's very
Simon
I mean,
cute.
I remember wearing it, and yeah, that was definitely fun.
And I love that Simon's
that
like
dinosaur.
impatient, waiting outside.
Yeah,
being
because
like,
I'm gonna be
"Oh."
late for my victory.
As
you
a
know, I got my
vampire,
speech
you were-
written.
You were the vampire.
yes.
That's right. I was a vampire. Simon's a classic man.
Yeah.
You know, he's
Yeah, you go for
he's
the
got the
classic costumes.
yeah for sure. That tracks.
Yes. So for the fashion, this episode will be a costume. Who's had the best costume?
Well, I don't know, because we had some hardcore '90s cool kids for the fashion award. But if we're doing the costume contest, my vote is Mackenzie as Happy. Cutest
I
costume.
think that I would say cutest costume. For
Cutest
sure.
costume, most
Yeah.
iconic, memorable costume
Most
from the
creative
episode for
too,
sure.
because it was made with just a mop, maybe.
Yeah.
No, I think the
Yeah.
with the sweater and,
And
Most-
honestly,
but most
wearing
memorable.
that costume was one of the most vivid memories I have of that era of filming. Actually,
That's
I
cool.
think you definitely get.
and the uncomfortable nature of the other costume.
Oh, I do remember that also because
I remember
it
that
was
dinosaur,
hot.
and Luba made
was
it,
hot.
and it took hours and hours, and I wore it for what, like 2 seconds on the show.
I remember you in the dinosaur costume as well. It's
Yeah.
also very cute. You might get first and second place
Yeah.
on the costume contest.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
And then
Gold and silver.
And then while
medalist.
we're at it,
Hashtag Olympics.
I think MVP has got to go to Mole
absolutely
for his performance.
Yeah.
His guest star
MVP.
performance.
Or-
It's
He
so
was so good.
it would have been so easy to come in and act all over this performance
Totally.
and do way too much and
Yeah.
kind of smother it because of how awkward and slow paced the performance was supposed to be.
Yep.
And he does it
Just enough.
he does
yeah.
just enough. He gives it that little bit of awkward timing, awkward pacing. His voice is modulated a little weird.
Perfect.
It's all done with little adjustments, and it comes across as sympathetic, sweet, innocent. For a giant guy, he comes across so innocently, and that's a feat, man. It's hard to soften a difficult performance like that and not do too much.
Well, because I think what people don't realize is how easy it is to overact. It is so hard to kind of dial it back and to, especially sometimes because when you're reading it on the script, it is easy to overact.
I guarantee you, most of the people that they saw for this role, if they saw people for
Anybody,
this
yeah.
role, it was just tons of overacting, and that's it's the number one trap. It's what
Yeah.
you watch most of the time when you watch content. You
And-
watch
Yep.
overacting, and it's so like
It's
it takes confidence and experience to like dial it back and trust the choices that you make, and we had just a phenomenal guest star
He
who
was
delivered on that performance.
wonderful.
Really difficult performance.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Definitely my
Richard
favorite
Mole,
person
definitely
to watch in that
MVP.
episode, for
So-
sure.
Yeah.
And just like you just want to hug him. You just
And it
wanna,
made me
Absolutely.
sad that I didn't realize when I worked with him later that I had no idea.
That you
About
guys
that-
had that
yeah.
history.
Yeah. Well, it was your history, but yeah, I had no idea about that.
You were there.
And I was like, oh my gosh.
We were all at the pumpkin contest together.
Yeah.
You know?
But, you know, I didn't.
It's cool, though, that you got to, that when you saw the episode, you went, oh,
I would have sort of fangirled more when I worked with him the second time, had I known that was what he had done.
I know, it is
on the
funny, though,
show the
because we
first
have
time.
so many guest stars that list is quite long.
Yeah, I don't think
It
this
is.
will be the
It's
first
too long.
surprise. Or the last
There's no way you
surprise.
could remember them all.
Yeah.
No.
It's also very sweet that that you know the traditional pumpkin carving contest is about making a spooky jack-o'-lantern, and this reclusive artist character that you bring out of his shell with his art, he decides to put your visage on the pumpkin and doesn't make you scary. He draws this kind of almost photorealistic
I know, that
portrait.
pumpkin was amazing.
And it's like a sweet thank you from his character to yours in a way. Like he gives
It's a
you
portrait.
tribute, right? In a way. And it's sweet. It's a great little bow on your arc together, and it's solid writing.
Yeah, because it's also like she is his only friend. You know, for someone who has been kind of forgotten and pushed away, it's a nice thank you to Lucy for kind of being that support for him and kind of like helping guide him out. And there's just like that beautiful smile when he wins the contest, he takes off his mask, and everyone kind of supports him, and everyone like apologizes, and the boys come up and say that they'll clean up the eggs, and he says
Tonight.
good because they're stinky.
Yeah. Jimmy Moon apologizes because he doesn't want to lose his girlfriend.
It's so sweet.
According to me, she's
and
already gone.
innocent, and like it's just so well done. And
Yeah.
I think it's so much more fun watching now and appreciating it so much more than I did when I was 15 and doing it.
The show over the course of these first few episodes is so good at taking the theme, splitting the theme among the different age groups and characters, and then having those thread lines kind of converge again at the end in our climax scene. And our pumpkin carving contest scene is like another great example of this. And it's really cool to see how they really, the creative team, the writing team of the show really understood how they wanted to make this show, what the format was, and it was strong right from the get.
Yeah, it was a cute episode. I liked this episode.
It was really cute, and it was fun to do.
This was. So I think that wraps up this episode.
Yeah.
The Halloween.
Happy Halloween, everyone.
Oh.
Ooh.
We're getting like our
Man.
disco on
Tricks
for
up
We gotta-
Halloween.
We got a budget or something now. Look at that.
thank
Mics
you.
and lights and woo.
Thank you guys so much for listening. We are catching up with the Camdens. Please be sure to like, to follow, and to comment. Hope you guys enjoyed it, and stay tuned.
Tell your friends to like it too, even if they haven't seen it. Just because.
And join us next time on Catching Up with the Camdens.
Later.
We're not alone, we all got the same